Welcome to the Gay XYZ Show with your hosts, Christian, Donovan, and Jason, where everything is gay to the third degree. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. That's our little...
Hey guys, how you guys doing tonight?
Good, how are you, Christian?
Fabulous.
I'm doing wonderful. Got me a MacBook today. Yay!
Yay! Congratulations. That's awesome. Did you get it from the Mac store or somewhere else?
I got it from Best Buy.
Oh, awesome. Do you like it?
I love it. I'm still doing some stuff to it because it's new and it has to do that whole update thing. But
right.
This will be the last week I'm using my Windows PC because my Windows PC is giving me so many problems.
Welcome to the dark side, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Team Apple all day, every day.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and so you're gonna find a lot. I mean, you're gonna be. I honestly think you're gonna be so happy with it because, truthfully, there's such a difference between Apple and Windows machines, and people think, oh, what could be the biggest difference? But really, the usability of it and the ease of it and everything working together, and as they say on the Apple commercials, it just works. It just works. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a world of a difference in the few hours that I've had it. So yeah,
good.
I was playing with it and someone called me and then it started ringing on the computer and I'm like, what the fuck? So I pressed it to answer and I was like, hello?
Yes.
And it's like, hey, what's up? I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize this even happened. So
yes,
I love that already.
Yeah, and also, speaking of MacBooks and everything, I actually have one. I have a MacBook Pro, and I actually mine stopped working about I don't know, a month ago, and the screen stopped working. And so anyway, I took it into the Apple store, Genius Bar. Went in there, and in 2 minutes, the guy said, okay, I know what's wrong with it. And he said it's covered. Even though it wasn't under warranty anymore, they still covered it because it was their fault, because there was some kind of soldering issue. Anyway, so they fixed it. They sent it off. 2 days later, I get it back. Okay, my MacBook had dents in the back of it, dents in the bottom. All the feet in the bottom are missing. I mean, it was just like gone to the ringer. Mm-hmm. And they replaced the whole thing, the back, the screen, the underside. It did not charge me a cent.
Wow.
So that's one reason I love Apple. Because they take care of their customers. So good for you, Jason. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So tonight's show, we're talking about politics. You're going to get to know what we think about certain issues, political issues, ranging the gamut of things. We're talking about those things tonight. Also, of course, a few pop culture things towards the end of the show. So if you want to call into the show, by the way, you can call in at 214-377-0481. And you can talk to Christian or to Jason or myself, and you can make your voice heard. And also, if you want to email us, you can email each of us, have our own email address at gayxyz.com. You can email Jason at gayxyz.com, Christian at gayxyz.com, or Donovan at gayxyz.com. And you can ask us questions. You can ask for advice. You can tell us you hate our fucking guts, whatever you want to say.
Send me a love letter.
Yes, we are open, okay? So... If you have comments or you have suggestions, we're happy to hear them. But we do not promise we're going to take it well. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, I just thought we'd talk about a little bit about some political stuff. And there's so many different things going on this year, of course, because next year is the election year in the United States of America. So first I want to talk to you about what are your thoughts about President Obama so far? Thus, he's almost at the end of his second term. And so having had him as the first African-American president in this country, what did that mean to either one of you? Did it mean anything to you? And do you think he's done a good job and kept his promises? Anyone?
Well, I mean, I voted for him both terms. It was definitely a historic thing because, you know, we've never had an African American president before. And I did not vote for him just because he was African American. Let me be very clear about that. Mm-hmm. I voted for him because I felt like he was the one that could do
the best job.
The best at the job. But no, it also came with, it's historic moments. I mean, you have an African American president, African American first lady, and it was just to me he also came off as very, well, he still is. He comes off as very charismatic,
Yeah.
Hmm.
which I love because it's like it's like he's kind of smooth and suave with it, but kind of like in a charismatic, fun-loving kind of way, like
It's like he's sophisticated but down to earth,
exactly.
right?
Like he's the
Yeah.
only president that I know of that is willing to do like comedy skits with like BuzzFeed and
Exactly.
that type of stuff. I mean I can't think of a president that's done that in the past.
Well, he's
You
kind of
know,
one of the first to really be on the pulse of like that generation. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
And I think that's one reason why. And he also, I think that the fact that he's younger than most presidents have been. He was in his 40s, early 40s, I think, when he took over, right?
Hmm.
So that makes him like one of the youngest presidents ever. So he can really relate, I think, a lot more to Generation X, Y, or Z than can someone like George Bush, who has no idea what the fuck they are. So, yeah. So you're happy with the job he's done then?
I'm overall happy with the job that he's done. I mean, there's been some hiccups and that type of thing, but it's I mean, every president has its, down moments or whatever.
Hmm.
But, he captured Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
big deal, by the way.
yeah, which is
Right.
a huge deal, which I don't understand how no one else could track this motherfucker down, but he was able to. Yeah. So, and, plenty of the, just it's just a lot of things. I mean, that was one of the main other things. I think something else happened within the past 8 years. I can't remember at the moment, but I know it was Osama bin Laden, and it was something else that happened, which oh my god, my mind just went blank. But overall,
Well, the economy, for one thing,
Hmm.
he inherited an economy from George Bush, the moron,
Hmm.
that actually was put our country in the toilet, and so he inherited a bunch of bullshit. The
Hmm.
economy was down, jobs were down, and also the Wall Street was like going under, whatever. The banks were going under, whatever. All this was happening when he took over, and the man orchestrated it with a Republican Congress and everybody else who hated his fucking guts, basically, and actually made this stuff happen anyway. Ultimately, turned everything around. Now our country is on the way out of all this bullshit, or we are out of it for the
Hmm.
most part. So he turned all that around. I think that's great and that's wonderful. But also, I just want to say, for me, he has, as I've said before, he's done more for gay rights than any president ever in history of this country. He not only has he done more for our rights, he's also uses our name when he speaks about Americans and in concert with men, women, Christians, Muslims, gay, lesbian. I mean, he says, he includes us, and
Hmm.
I think that's a big deal. So I like him. I think I think he could have done more in some instances, but overall, the man has done a fucking lot, and he deserves respect. That's what I think. What about you, Christian?
Agreed. Well, his first term, you gotta remember, I'm young. So his first
What were you,
term,
like, 2?
7 years ago, election, yeah, I wasn't 18 yet, so I couldn't vote.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, at that age when you kind of have no sort of rights when it comes to voting, of course I knew what was going on. Um, but I wasn't paying attention to it. And then the second time around, I kind of knew that it was a shoe in to continue his presidency. And to be honest, I think if we could choose to have him as president for another 4 years, most people would probably do that.
Yeah, I agree. They
But
would.
I feel like just as somebody that since he's the only president I've known as far as president that I can give my opinion to or that I can pay attention to based on what's going on in society and in our government.
Hmm.
I feel like he's done a really nice job at listening to everybody. I feel like he's worked in concert with his Republican peers and as well as his Democrat peers, and I feel like he's done a great job kind of bringing everybody together for one moral good. Because he could have easily um gosh, what's the word I'm trying to think of? He could have easily done more gun control type of things. You know what I mean? But he's been respectful to the types of people that don't want gun control in this
Yeah.
country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm having I'm
He's
having
just
trouble
very.
looking for the specific word I'm looking for, but
Well, he's very balanced and he equal. I don't know the word either, but I know what you're trying to say.
thank you.
Yes.
And I feel like if it wasn't that if that wasn't the case, if we had gotten a Republican president, then that might not be the case right about now. You know what I mean? And I think it's really important that as we move into next year and as it gets down to the nitty gritty into who's going to be running for president specifically, I think it's important to respect everybody's views and understand that each presidential candidate does hone in on something that is important for our country. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And one of the big issues right now and that we're dealing with as gay people in this country is now that we've got gay rights in terms of gay marriage, if you've read anything about Kim Davis in Virginia, Kentucky, whom is the registrar or whatever the fuck she is. She does the fucking wedding licenses there or whatever in her county in Kentucky. And she is refusing and has refused for months now, whatever, to issue gay marriage licenses because it's against her religious belief system. And the thing is since the Supreme Court has ruled that you have to allow gay marriage, that means any federal agency has to comply. And the deal about religious freedom is that, okay, so if you personally are religiously against it, or for whatever reason, or against your religion, then you can say, okay, I choose not to issue this license. That's legal. However, you cannot, that means that someone has to accommodate the people. They still have to be able to get married. So, but what she's been doing has been saying, okay, I will not issue your license because it's against God or whatever she says, but also no one else in my office will either. And so she's breaking the law. So she has been in jail now for like a day, and she got out today actually. And
she should have stayed in there longer.
Yes, she's been there longer. But the reason she got out is because the judge asked her, said, if you sign this, and it says basically that she states that she will no longer prevent her coworkers from issuing licenses to gay people. And if she does, then she's back in jail. So that's why she's out now. But anyway, my point. Go ahead.
I don't.
Well, my question was going to be about religious freedom.
Go ahead.
Well, my question was going to be about religious freedom. So, does she have the right? I mean, when you're religious, you have a religious belief system about something. Does that supersede the law, or does the law supersede your religious freedom, as you may put it?
As long as it's legal to deny somebody of service, I do not think that if that's against your religious belief, I think that's fine. Just don't do it. You know what I mean? Don't put yourself in that situation either. But when it becomes illegal to deny anybody any type of service, then that's when I think it's appropriate. I personally am not a big fan of religion and politics, just because I don't, our country's a melting pot. I don't think it's quite fair to base all our laws and politics on one religion, just because it's not fair for society as a whole. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not everybody thinks that way. But
what about you, Jason?
I mean, my thing is that if she doesn't want to do this because of her religious beliefs, that's fine. I think my problem is that don't go around and tell your coworkers or your, acquaintances, whatever the case may be, that, just because, you have a belief in this particular thing and you don't want it done, you're trying to persuade other people to, to take the same action as you're taking. I don't think that's right.
Right, but she believes she's a God warrior and she's fighting
yeah.
for God,
Well, I believe I'm fucking, I don't know, Tom Cruise right now or something, and I want to be a superstar, and I am because I say I am or whatever, and I have millions of dollars. I don't know. I mean, I can believe whatever the fuck I want. I can believe whatever the fuck I want. But if it impedes upon someone else's rights as a human being, civil rights, we're not talking about religion. We're talking about civil liberties. Right. Then that is where you cross the line from religious freedom, as she puts it, to civil rights. And that's why it's an issue, because she is preventing people from getting married based on her religious beliefs. She doesn't have to issue the license, but someone else in her office is required to do so.
Right.
So
exactly. I don't know. I just feel like when sometimes people can't have their way, they'll use that excuse of like, oh, it's against my religion or it seems like that's been happening a lot within the recent months.
Of course, because we're getting all rights.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just one of those things. I'm just